basically Dragon Age, BioWare's like flagship fantasy RPG, is releasing a new update, and I think we're getting this Veilguard. Not sure the exact launch date of Veilguard, but I think it's 2024. I'll try to find that out, but it's been like 10 years since Dragon Age Inquisition. And for anybody who played like the original Dragon Age, Dragon Age 2, it was an amazingly fun and really stellar game back when BioWare was like at the top of making AAA games. Really well done cinematic fantasy storytelling. For a Dungeons and Dragons fan, I can't think of another game that came as close to capturing that high fantasy as Dragon Age did. Really, just a really cool bunch of games, but they sort of fell off with Inquisition and then the Inquisition DLCs. I played through all of Inquisition, but I was really not happy with it. I never liked the Frostbite engine, and I was not really that wowed. I thought the game was sort of boring. So I didn't even bother playing any of the DLCs. And then the fact that they waited 10 years to release the next game, I sort of wrote off Dragon Age as a game that I just considered myself a fan of. Then I saw the Veilguard, and I won't go over that. There are a lot of stream and YouTube people who've gone over reacts to the Veilguard trailer. Everybody sort of unanimously hates it. Maybe one or two outliers think it looks great, but the overall gist of BioWare's new addition to Dragon Age is skeptical at best. A lot of people are saying that it looks like garbage. I wanted to take a chance to sort of give BioWare. This is why I have this letter up. So they're talking here about the Dragon Age. I guess there was some controversy around the original title, and they decided to change it. And I just wanted to talk about it really quick. So they revealed that they gave an official first look at the gameplay for Dragon Age, and the Dragon Age gameplay, it looks like an action RPG. It's not. So if you're looking for something like Baldur's Gate, it doesn't look like that at all. It looks more like sort of like an action RPG like Diablo, except the way that they frame the characters, it's more cinematic, very reminiscent of old school BioWare. But so here it is. After Dragon Age Inquisition launched, the studio was given an incredible opportunity to explore, test, and validate a variety of gameplay concepts to determine what the next Dragon Age would look like. We brought everything to the table, which included a multiplayer concept. At the time we spent experimenting and iterating taught us a lot. This work and the amazing support of EA. EA purchased BioWare back in 2012. Many people in the gaming world would say that that was the death of BioWare when EA took it over, which EA has a history of acquiring game companies and destroying them. So I think a great example of why I believe that is that Mass Effect Andromeda was a massive fail, considering the overwhelming success of Mass Effect 3 and how the fans absolutely loved Mass Effect when BioWare under EA released Andromeda, and it just was complete garbage. I myself bought the Ultimate Edition of Mass Effect 4, and I could open my Steam and show you, I have played 10 minutes of that game and then uninstalled it. It was one of the worst games I've ever played. I couldn't believe, and that's coming from Mass Effect 3 being one of the best games, and the series Mass Effect, all 1, 2, and 3 being probably the best game series that I've played. Obviously, I've played a lot of games since then, but so I kind of wrote off BioWare and didn't think that Dragon Age was going to get another one, and now they have a new game coming out, Veilguard. So I just wanted to give them a chance to explain to us what they were thinking about, which is why I pulled up this letter. At BioWare, we create worlds of adventure, conflict, companionship, and you're at the center of it all. As the fans of our franchise know, every Dragon Age game has delivered new standalone story. A new standalone story. Okay, so that's something we need to keep in mind. They're trying to give us a new standalone story. It's set in the world of Thedas. These tales explore epic locales, threats, thrusting you into a new conflict. Okay, I mean, I'm not a super fan of the Dragon Age lore, but it's okay. It's similar to Diablo, but it's okay. You like it's there's a lot of like blood magic and um the way that they have magic split up. It's kind of like Sith and Jedi ish. Um, each game introduced a new lead hero: the Warden, Hawk, the Inquisitor. Yeah, it was all right. You're the unique hero. Okay, so each of the 7 characters that make up our companions, so they're giving 7 new companions, deep, compelling storylines. That's very right up BioWare's alley. That's something that they're really good at. You make decisions and impact of relationships with them as well as their lives. I mean, that's good. And people who are coming from Baldur's Gate 3, that they will be very they'll be looking for that, because in Baldur's Gate 3, all of your companions had unique stories and you had to either help or not help them. And that would change the ultimate arc of the entire story based on what you did with each of these individuals that you were questing with. BioWare was the first, before Larian, they were the best at this. So this is sort of their wheelhouse. So I would imagine that they'll do this really well. Dreadwolf, I'm not sure who Dreadwolf is, but they're saying they'll have an important part in this tale. And then the enemies. Okay, the capture what the game is about. We changed the name as the original title didn't show you how strongly we feel about our new hero, the story, and all together. Okay, so they're calling it the Veil Guard. I'm imagining the Veil Guard then is the organization of people working with you to protect Thedas. I'm imagining. I don't know. Okay, and they showed gameplay. The gameplay is okay. Again, they did it in the Frostbite engine, and I'm not super excited about it. Like, yeah, it looks pretty, but the gameplay looks kind of like it looks maybe like a 10-year-old game. So the short of it is this letter really didn't tell us that much more other than they just explained why they changed the name, because they apparently they wanted it to reflect the fact that the Veil Guard was a collection of characters that you get to interact with and help out. All right, that makes sense. I probably will play the game just because I am a fan of BioWare, and I still think Dragon Age 1 and 2 were some of the best games that I've played. I was not a fan of Inquisition, but I will give this game a try. Depending on the various price points that they have, I'll probably play it just to see if it's worth the time. I wasn't very impressed with the footage that I saw from the gameplay trailers. It looked very sort of generically underwhelming, and the combat isn't anything like Dungeons and Dragons. It's more just like an action game where you have a bar of stamina and you run up and you hit something and then you lose a little bit of stamina and then you hit something again and you lose a little bit of more stamina, and then if you roll away your stamina regenerates and then you have enough for a big attack, and you can change mid combat from a sword to a bow and various attacks. You can also pause time and like cast a spell, but all that's just very video gamey. It's not very unique, and it sort of didn't look that interesting. So that's the reason why we wanted to talk about BioWare. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about is something that I'm super excited about in the space of action adventure video games, and this is a trailer for the new Indiana Jones game that Bethesda made, and it's called Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This is a 5-minute trailer. I think it's worth watching. If you're a fan of the franchise, what Lucas did with Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones video games in general have always been pretty interesting. Some of the writing has been really cool. So what I was sort of most excited about is I think that I'm not quite sure. I'm going to do the research to figure out if they are using AI generated voices or if this is actually Harrison Ford. It sounds just like him. You guys can let me know what you think. But here we go.
Are you sure you want to investigate this, Indy?
I can't let this go. It could be the best kept secret in history.
What are you going to do, Indiana?
These artifacts have a deep connection to something in the past.
I mean, that sounds a lot like Harrison Ford. The other thing, too, that's great is obviously they use like de-aging on this avatar for him. They're making this basically like circa the first movie because we have Marcus Brody there who looks young. And then these are Nazis, right? So, I mean, they're basically in the middle of when Indiana Jones was sort of at his height. The other thing I noticed too, the engine that they use, Bethesda, I'm usually not impressed by Bethesda games at all. I don't really think they're a very good game developer. However, this looks really good in the lighting and the way that I'm wondering if it's Unreal 5. I think it might be, but it just looks really good.
Boss believes they hold a kind of power. A discovery that could change the world.
What were you doing out there?
Fresh air! We have to find the stones, Gina. Or they will. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the globe, you'd get a perfectly aligned circle.
The Great Circle.
Exactly.
And that's very similar to the vibe from the original movie. Like just the way that they're framing stuff, the dialogue, it just reminds me a lot of those original films. I haven't seen the latest one. I wasn't really super excited about it because George Lucas didn't write it and Steven Spielberg didn't create it, have anything to do with it. It was a completely new team of people. And in my opinion, it's like more of like the fan film stuff that's going on, where I'm not a huge fan of that in the motion picture space, but I do like fan films sometimes, and especially when it comes to video games. Like one of my favorite video games that I've found and played, it's a super old video game. I played it as a kid. It was Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, I think it was called. It's really old LucasArts game, but it was great. Like, I loved it. So, I mean, I also liked, like Day of the Tentacle and all the Guybrush Threepwood games. Like, there's all those old LucasArts games I really liked. A couple of the other old games that they had. So, Bethesda is taking up the challenge to add to the universe of Indiana Jones. So far, the trailer looks really good. Harrison Ford sounds like Harrison Ford. If it's not him, the computer AI voice that they're using is spot on.
I intercepted a Morse code coming from the Himalayas.
Our boss is sending all of his men.
Is that a...
Battleship? Yep. Let's get a closer look.
Gotta find the stone and get off this ship.
What's that in his hands? What does it say?
Earth something. What was that?
We'd better hide.
I mean, the vibe is really good.
Ciao.
Indiana Jones has a one-punch knockout.
Hands behind your head.
A lot of the way they're framing this and shooting it is very good. And the music sounds great.
Where's the stone, you American rat?
What stone?
Have you ever heard of Höhenangst?
Fear of heights?
Yes!
You know what's really interesting is when he picked up Harrison Ford and he started moving him to the edge, the way that they did the model work, like the way his shoulders and stuff worked, reminded me very similar of when Han Solo was being like pushed forward. So they even got like accurate recreations of Harrison Ford's own body movements. It's really, I'm impressed, very impressed. I think they did a really good job at being a Harrison Ford fan. I'm probably what they would call a fanboy, right, of Harrison Ford. I mean, how can you not be? He's sort of like the best action hero we've had. I think that they did a great job. Are we still in the uncanny valley? A little bit. It's a little bit creepy because they still aren't photorealistic. They still do look a little bit created, but we're at a point now where I think the valley, the end of the valley is visible. Pretty soon they're going to be able to do these video games for us and it's going to look spot on.
And I have it. I endured this dreadful mountain even if my mind was screaming every step of the way. Because of a concept you narrow-minded Americans will never understand. Devotion. Total and absolute devotion to the fatherland. You have no purpose. What you have is your stupid American cartoons. Choo-choo, choo-choo. Ha 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 ha. You laugh and dance,
I like
celebrating
cartoons.
your own idiocy and drinking the piss you call beer. I will walk through fire for the devoted men of the Reich.
And that looks
Give me
really
that
good.
stone.
The depth of
Now!
field.
Can't give you what I don't have.
And that sounds just like
I
him.
shall search your corpse to make sure.
Please wait.
Give me the stone.
Gina.
I mean, the energy is very similar to the original film. I think the way that they're framing it and cutting it, and it looks beautiful. That's a hell of a pretty battleship that's sitting on the top of a mountain. It's really cool. So far, I'm very impressed.
Help me!
The stone! The stone!
Gina!
Halten Sie auf!
Hab dich.
Sucks to be that guy. I don't know if it's me, but I'm like having a hard time wondering where his normal hat is. Like, I understand it's cold, but where's the hat, Indy? Has he got it hidden somewhere? There it is. So, yeah, I mean, it's a gorgeous, like beautiful. I'm super impressed. The sound, the light, the voices, the acting, the framing, the cinematography, the mise en scène, everything looks phenomenal. The only thing that I'm not excited about is I'm not a first-person action game player. I don't like the first person. I never have. I want a third person. So if they allow you to zoom out and just play isometrically, then I'll probably play this game. If they don't and you have to play it first person, it's just a personal thing. I just don't. I know they're super popular. People love first person games. I don't like them. But that does look amazing. Like, Yeah, it looks great. So we're gonna see. That may be a game that I play, and I thought that was great. You know, it's like role playing as Indiana Jones. Thought it would be great to take a look at that.
Where are you going? Hunting for gold that is flowing. Somewhere in the cold world, here there is no knowing. Hey la, oh la la la. We love if there's a standing stone. Let's make camp. We love games. Let's make camp and play more games. Hey la, oh la la. We love games. There's a standing stone. Let's make camp. We love games. Let's make camp and play more games. Hey la, oh la la. We love games. Where are you going? There's no knowing what magic awaits, what evil is growing. Hey la, oh la la. We love games. There's a standing stone. Let's make camp. We love games. Oh la la. Hunting no crips is folly. Just play games and be jolly. Magical treasures hide in the dark, so rest in it and bark. We love games. There's a standing stone. Let's make camp. We love games. Let's make camp and play more games. There's a standing stone. Let's make camp. We love games. Let's make camp and play more games. Hey la, oh la la. We love games. Hey la, Mary la. Oh la 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 la. Oh la la. La 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 la. La la la